This is Robbie Brown with Unknown Ventures, and you're listening to the Bigfoot Club podcast.
Hey, everybody. Bigfoot Club, Season 6, Episode 8. I'm Stephen Dominguez, and I'm with...
Robert Dominguez.
How's it going, man?
It's going good.
Thank you for letting me lead on that one.
You should always do it. You just don't want to ever do it.
He never lets me do it.
Whatever.
He's all like, Stephen, you better not do this. This is my show. You say it just like that, too.
I do not. I do not.
How are you feeling?
I feel a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
From last time we were on the show. But we didn't really talk about it because we were talking to Daniel and Andre.
Right.
With Beyond the Unknown.
Beyond the Unknown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are some good dudes, man.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to them because they were pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And they have like really good sense of humor.
Yeah.
They get our humor.
Yeah. They caught on to us like pretty good. So I was pretty happy with that.
I also want to point out today, Robert did a brave thing. He got a package. The reason why, because I saw it right there. He got a package from a special guest, Yowie Dan.
Yeah.
And what did you try?
Vegemite. He sent me some Vegemite, and it's
to our listeners. What is Vegemite?
It's like I want to say fermented paste or something.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Okay, everybody. I'm going to tell you guys what is Vegemite. Wow.
It's tiny, right?
Concentrated yeast extract. Ingredients: yeast extract, wheat, barley, salts, mineral, malt extract, barley, flavors: niacin, thymine, and riboflavin, folate. It's got gluten in it, so Bega Cheese Limited. I'm assuming it gives you energy, right? Because it's
vitamin B in it.
Yeah,
right?
B vitamins for vitality.
Yowie Dan purchased a Bigfoot Club shirt probably about 3 weeks ago, and he was telling me that he bought it, and so he goes, "Hey, I'm going to send you some Vegemite," and I go, "Okay." He goes, "But you got to try it with a spoon." And
that you did.
Yeah.
That you did.
So he sent it, and I guess it took like 2-3 weeks to get here, and it just got here today. And so I tried it, and I got a video of it. I don't know if I'm going to post it yet. I don't know yet, but
it does say here that it's got, I guess, vitamin B1, essential for brain function. Vitamin B2 supports your nervous system. Vitamin B3, essential for energy release, and folate helps fight fatigue. Enjoy as part of a balanced variety diet and active lifestyle. So it looks like, we found the superhuman or super, I guess, energy thing that Yowie Dan, because he walks a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
With his thongs.
Yeah.
His sandals, and. Yeah, it looks like if you probably take this every day, I wonder if you'll feel different.
Well,
a spoonful at least.
Well, when I tasted it, it tasted real bitter.
Yeah, I'm gonna open it and I'm gonna smell it again.
What does it smell like? What does it smell like?
It smells like.
Is it pungent?
It's very pungent. It's very. Oh yeah, Dan. I'm sorry, but how can you eat this?
Well, I sent the pictures over to Sarah Bignall too, and excuse me, and I showed her the video, and she goes, "Bob," he goes, "You're supposed to toast bread with a lot of butter and a thin layer of Vegemite." She goes, "That's when it's good."
Well, yeah, I mean, breakfast. If you mix it with butter, I mean, everything with butter, but you got a big spoonful of I don't know if you're going to release the video, but he did get a really big, like, tablespoon worth of it. And it looks like, to be honest with you, it looks like chocolate.
Yeah, it looks like tar, to be honest with you.
I mean, it looks like dark chocolate. And, Jesus, man, that smell is just something else, man.
I thought it smelled like cat food, to be honest with you. So
well, that's what he did today, and that's what
yeah.
That's you don't shy away from trying something if it's food, you know. If it's something that you can chew and is good for you, then you'll do it.
Yeah. So
that's what he did today.
Yeah. It was interesting.
You think Bigfoots, or I'm sorry, Yowies, like Vegemite?
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, they're probably opportunistic eaters. Mm-hmm. So they probably eat whatever is available. Mm-hmm. So, a little shrimp on the barbie. Mm-hmm. Sorry. What do you want to talk about today?
You wanted to talk about trauma.
Bigfoot bullies, really.
Bigfoot bullies also, but I guess the trauma of seeing a Bigfoot or seeing something that you're not equipped to handle mentally and emotionally.
Matt had on Bigfoot Crossroads recently on episode 111, he had Rich Daniels, and he talked about Bigfoot trauma, and it was a very interesting podcast. You guys need to go there and listen to that one. I listened to it twice. That's how good it was to me. And so I know we did an episode a while back, like in December of last year, and we titled it Bigfoot Bullies, and I lost it. I don't know where. I think
you lost the episode.
Yeah, I think the Roadcaster Pro ate it or something. I don't know. And we talked like for a good hour and 20 minutes about Bigfoot bullies. And so I kind of want, and then when I heard that episode, it kind of got me into thinking. I said, well, we should probably just do it again because there's so much trauma. And like this guy Rich Daniels, he was talking exclusively about trauma from people. He did a case study in which I think he interviewed like 408 people that had a Bigfoot sighting and then had trauma afterwards. And so I know from our interview with John Doe, he had trauma.
Yep.
He had trauma from his incident and not expecting to see a Bigfoot when he went to go confront his brother-in-law. And so he had night terrors for the longest time, and he didn't talk to anybody about it. And then eventually he talked to me because I think he confronted with me because number one, I was his customer, and we had a good relationship talking wise. And he just confided in me about his story, and he never told his wife, never told his kids, but he told me, and we talked about it. I think for like 2-3 years, and right before I did the show, before we did Bigfoot Club. And so, but he went through the trauma, and, just one of those things that you don't know what people are going through until, you actually sit down and talk to them.
Yeah.
And, some people just can't cope with, seeing an animal that size, and their mind is just thinking like, why am I seeing this?
Yeah. 'Cause if you really think about it, everybody needs to go to some type of therapy. I think everybody, the emotions and mental and just emotionally and mentally, some things you just can't handle, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I feel the same way where, people who survived serial killers or they survived
sexual abuse, being kidnapped, stuff like that is, they got to go through some sort of therapy, and that needs to be not forced, but like, hey, you need to talk to somebody about this because that's not an everyday thing. That's not you're not equipped to go through something like that. Ergo, with someone surviving a bear attack or a shark attack or seeing a bear or even almost being attacked by a bear and you get away. You're like, whew, I survived it, but you're still going to have like some type of what if I did this wrong and then it would have got me? Same thing with Bigfoot. They see a Bigfoot, like, what if you freeze? What do I do? Right.
If I move a certain way, is it going to get angry? Is it going to come after me? Is it going to, kill me? Yeah.
And then, then you have the factor of whether people are going to believe you or not.
That too. That's another thing too.
And
Because I think it's more believable. It's like, I survived a bear attack. Really? Tell me your story.
Yeah.
And I survived a Bigfoot attack. What? That's where people will.
So I just wanted to say this because you've never seen a Bigfoot, right?
No.
And I've never seen a Bigfoot. But I kind of stepped into Bigfoot stuff, and people that listen to the show know that I was interested in it ever since a kid. Watching The Legend of Boggy Creek, and my perspective is just I come into it wanting to know. I just infatuated with this story of this mystery. I just wanted to just get involved and get immersed in it, and read these investigations or these incidents or these eyewitness reports. And so I'm in it because I want to learn. And there's people who don't know anything about Bigfoot, and they're hunters, or they're building a cabin in the woods, or they're hiking or whatever. And they run into this creature and they don't want nothing to do with this. And then they see it. And so Rich Daniels made a really, really good point on Matt's podcast that, you have, the average Joe Blow investigator, and he's excited about getting, this eyewitness to talk to him. And he says, hey, so, what did you see? What color was it? Did you smell anything? Did you, you're grabbing all this information from this person who has to relive it. Right. And so, and then you're getting all this story, and okay, that's cool. You saw a Bigfoot, and and where did it go, and blah blah. What were you doing? And then you leave, and then the person who had to relive it again is now like probably going through some trauma again. And so what we need to do, and like a lot of Bigfoot researchers are probably not going to like this, but we need to ask the question: how are you feeling?
Oh yeah.
Whenever you've seen this, because I know there was a point in time whenever I was with the TBRC, and I quit trying to prove it existed, and I just wanted to help people. So I know there was a lady that had a sighting, and I think she called me for 3 months straight, and we talked every week, and I just talked her through it, and she was what if it comes back? I don't know what to do. My husband works, all night. And I was just like, okay, well, this is what you do if you don't want to see it again. And so I gave her some pointers and on maybe not seeing this creature again. And I think I checked on her for another month or two, and it just went away. So, but the pointers I gave her they worked, and
of course.
And so she was pretty happy about that. So,
yeah. I think what I like to piggyback on what you said about we need to ask witnesses like two or three important questions. How did you feel then? And how do you feel now, or do you feel the same way? Right. And
a lot of researchers are not doing that.
No, they just want I get it. You can get the information and the story and document it and then on your way. But at the end of the day, it's no different from a person who went through something like that, and you got to see it as some type of trauma. No, they didn't want to see that. Yeah, they were out there, having either a picnic or camping, or just passing through. People were just driving down the road, and then they'll see something like that story you said about the lady who was they pulled over to see if there was somebody that needed help, and she made a face and it mocked her face. Like that's terrifying. It is. And then they turn around real quick, and then the woods swallow them up, or yeah. And you're just like, how can something that massive disappear like that in the woods? How do you process that? How do you process it? And yeah, no, I think researchers are forgetting to do that. I'm not going to say who it is, but I think researchers are not asking how do you feel, and how did you feel there at the moment? How do you feel now, or do you feel the same way? Right. And do you need help? So, but I don't know. It's just like at that time, I had always felt that. But when I heard Matt's podcast with Mr. Daniels, it really hit home with me. It really hit home with me about
asking the right questions and, providing help to people, because there's, when I first got into Bigfoot, like I was telling you before, I've told people on this show, or I've mentioned on the show that, I was on it when there was the internet wasn't fast. It's it was still dial up. And so, and I would walk, if we were in a county and we felt we knew Bigfoots were there, and we would just walk up and down the streets that were adjacent to these waterways, whether they were lakes or creeks or bays or whatever, and we would walk and just knock on doors and try to talk to people. A lot of times we got doors slammed in our face, but we got to talk to people, and some people that we talked to never wanted to go on the record. And I know there was a story once that out in East Texas of this gentleman. He was hunting, and I was still with the TBRC at the time, and he was hunting, and apparently he was going into the woods, and he was going to his tree stand, and apparently he must have walked up on this Bigfoot that was sleeping on the ground. And he was not, I guess he was not downwind from it, so the Bigfoot didn't know it was coming. This guy was coming, and this guy walked up on it, and this Bigfoot jumped up. This is the story I heard. Jumped up, picked him up, slammed him down, and then ran off. And so this guy, I don't know, he must have got some kind of contusions, or he had some internal bleeding or something. So I think he made it out, and then he called his family, and then they took him to the hospital. And so we heard the story from, I think, a local law enforcement that was friends to one of the people in our group. And so we drove up to the hospital to go talk to this guy, and his family was they were the nation's army. They didn't want us in there. They had heard we were on our way. I don't know how, because it's a small town, I guess. And we got there, and they pushed us out of the hospital. They didn't want us. They didn't want to talk about it. They didn't want to be ridiculed. They didn't want anything about that. And so we heard the story later that he got attacked by a panther. And there's no panthers in East Texas. I mean, there is, but
to pick a person up. Though?
Yeah, to pick a person up.
And then slam. Did he have internal bleeding?
He probably did, or I don't know if he was going through some kind of trauma, and maybe he froze, or maybe he couldn't talk or something, because Mr. Daniels was saying fight or flight. A lot of people, when he was doing his study, that they had a lot of instances where people just ran out, and then he had some instances where people just froze. They just froze. And he was talking about this one story of this gentleman. He was a cop, and he saw this Bigfoot. Cops, they see a lot of bad shit. People dying, and they see a lot of, child abuse and stuff like that. They see a lot of stuff. So This guy, he was talking about this one dude that froze when he saw a Bigfoot, and he just closed his eyes. He just closed his eyes because he could not see it. He could not bear looking at it, and his brain could not
accept
it or process it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting to listen to that podcast, and then for us to go off of it. It's I don't know. To me, I always loved the opportunity to help people when it comes to seeing this creature. I'm fascinated by it, and like I said, I've never seen it, so I'm on a different perspective, and I know you are as well. So. It's just
man, to come across a Bigfoot, not only to see a Bigfoot, but see it sleeping. That's rare. I feel like these encounters are becoming a little more not only frequent, but different types of an encounter.
Yeah,
a Bigfoot sleeping. What's next? A Bigfoot taking a dump. That you would probably piss it off. If. Because they're vulnerable. Like any other person who's taking it, are you using a number two? Sorry, taking a shit.
Yeah.
They're vulnerable. Dogs do it. They watch whenever you have a dog, I don't know if you know this, and then you're pooping, the dog will stand guard and be by the bathroom and be by you and look at you and make sure
you're okay.
You're okay, and that hey, I got you. If anything comes in, like I got you. So to come across a Bigfoot sleeping is just like wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if they pooped like walking while they were walking. You know how horses do it?
Yeah, but their cabooses are already extended out.
Yeah,
and
I know. But if you're a Bigfoot and you're on the move and you're elusive, why would you not poop while you're? Why are we even talking about this?
Oh. Us. We're always talking the possibility, like coming across a Bigfoot sleeping, coming across Bigfoot two Bigfoot's fucking,
or
or
a Bigfoot's cock.
Yeah, Bigfoot's glowing cock. Sure. It's come on, this shouldn't surprise you.
Yeah, you're right. My bad.
Yeah, I think the listeners will probably be like, "Really, Robert? Bigfoot pooping is crossing the line here."
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry.
Drink water.
Sorry, B-Town down.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be like, really? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So there was this one story that I did with another Bigfoot investigator. It was out in East Texas, and it was this guy that worked for. Let me see. I can't remember if he worked for. He was a park ranger or he was a game warden, but it was. I can't remember if it was his brother or his cousin or a family relative. And he reached out to us and said, "Hey, my relative saw this Bigfoot. It was in East Texas, and it was a long drive. It was like 4-hour drive to go out there." And we drove out there, and we went to the guy's house, and we knocked on the door. The guy opens the door, and he only opened it like he had the door chained.
Yeah. So
and he just opened it enough to talk to us. And I said, "Hey, can we go inside and talk to you?" He goes, "No, I don't want to talk. I don't want to." Because I already talked, because he talked to us on the phone, and he told us what happened, and he didn't want to repeat it. So, and he slid a map through the crack of the door on where it was at. And I said, I may not be able to find this. He goes, "You'll find it." And he shut the door. And so we went out to go look at this area. It was a deer lease, and we got permission to go on there. And so we drove out and walked over, and he had a map exactly where that tree stand was at. So we went out to go look at it. And that area, I don't know, there's so much clay out there. It was like compacted, and it was a dry season, and so it was hard to find footprints in out there. But there was a, you could tell there was like a lot of activity out there. There were cedars. The tops of the cedars were broken, and there was tree breaks there, and you could see where something large was like printed on the high grass, like something was laying down. It was large. It looked like a cow, but there was no cows there. And so this guy was reliving that trauma when we went out there, and he didn't want to. He was a tall dude. He was like 6'6", 6'7", and he was scared. He was scared out of his mind, and he didn't want to go back out there. And from the last time I talked to that dude, this was years ago, that this guy no longer hunted anymore. He stopped hunting.
Really?
Yeah. So he was that traumatized by it, and he didn't want to go back out there.
That's crazy. That something like that could take a person who's been hunting probably years.
Yeah, his whole life.
Probably
as a kid.
Right? Like he's probably seen hogs and all that stuff. Hunted all different types of animals probably, and to see that, to ruin it all, that's sad.
It is.
But at the same time, it makes probably that's what the Bigfoot was aiming for. Is like, hey man, you're taking my food. Leave my food alone.
Yeah.
This is my food. This is my area.
So you're
get away from my shit. That's what he probably said.
Yeah. He goes, "Don't be taking my grub."
Yeah, don't be taking my grub, man. I like deer meat too, man.
So, those were a couple stories. I'm trying to think of another story where I had somebody that just didn't want to talk about it. I mean, I've had you know, probably hundreds of people that didn't want to talk about it, but it's just tough. It's tough to get people to open up.
You think now? Here's another thing too. Do you think people who witnessed this and they had trauma and they actually do go seek therapy? You think man, I hate to think this, but that have that one therapist where it was like, well, are you sure you saw it?
Yeah,
like, you know, maybe you were projecting it, you know, and it discredits
the person
what they saw, and it just makes them feel defeated. Like, I know what I saw.
Yeah,
I'm like, I wouldn't make this stuff. Like, I don't even want to talk to this about my family. And they're like, well, you know, if maybe you didn't see it. Maybe it was a bear, you know.
Yeah,
and you're just like, you can't help the fact, like, well, I already talked to my therapist. I already talked to a therapist. And I don't want to talk to anybody else. If they didn't believe me, no one else is. Even probably Bigfoot people, you know, that do this or research this on a daily basis. So it just makes me worry about that. Like, man, there's probably people who did go and go to therapy for it, and then they get discredited on it, and then they feel defeated. Like, oh, shit, did I really see it or did I really project it?
Yeah, it's you know, because like most therapists and clinicians, they're bounded to help you. They have to help you. And then when you're right, and I didn't even think about that. So whenever you get into the meat and potatoes of the story or the session, and then someone says, you know, yeah, I saw this, you know, 9-foot hairy creature. It was moving fast, and then the therapist kind of, you know, like you said, he's projecting this, or maybe he's slightly schizophrenic, or maybe he needs some kind of medication,
right,
to help him get through this. And so that's a tough one, man. And so for the medical field to not help people like that's you know, that's hard.
Well, I mean, I'm not blaming them, but you know how medical people are. It's like they have to stick to what they know science-wise, or, you know, medical-wise, and, you know, they understand that the brain can project stuff out of fear, but it just, like you said, it discredits them. Like, damn, like, and it makes them doubt themselves of what they saw, and you're like, no, I don't know. I don't even know now. Was it a bear? I don't know.
Yeah,
and it could have been a bear, but I saw a Bigfoot. You know. They growled at me, but bears growl too. Like, you know, it's one of those things where, man, you kind of feel bad for the person. So the people, like, I don't know if we have any of those listeners, you know?
Yeah.
I wish they would, you know, if we do, come forward and say what you saw and what your therapist said that was different, you know?
Yeah.
It's just sad.
I think if people are listening to the show, all right, if they're listening to the show, and I've seen a Bigfoot, and they want to talk about it, they can always reach out to us. They don't necessarily have to come onto the show, but if they need someone to talk about it, or they want to, because some people they have to write it out.
Yeah, and I think that's the first start. If they don't want to talk about it,
right,
they can always write it out.
Write it out, yeah.
You know, type it up or write it out into an email.
Even if you don't give it to anybody, just write it out. Get it out of your system.
Yep.
And then if you want to proceed and like give it to them, it doesn't have to be Bigfoot Club. You can go to the BFRO. You can go to, you know, Bigfoot Crossroads. You can go to Yowie Central, Sarah Bignall. You can go to Felipe Mendoza. Was it Big Dog Random podcast?
Beyond the Unknown.
And Beyond the Unknown. You can go to those guys, and you know, they'll listen to you.
Yep.
And they'll take your story.
We welcome you with open arms and no judgment.
Right.
No judgment here, and we just want to hear your story on that. And I guarantee you, we'll not therapy you or therapist you. Are you sure you saw it? No. You know, we want to know what you saw, what you smell, what you felt, all that stuff, and how you're doing.
How are you dealing with it?
How are you dealing with it, and how are you doing? And you know, yeah, it's just. It came across my mind when we were talking about it. Like, man, like that's because I've been in therapy and I know what it feels like whenever you say you see something and
it's questionable.
It's questionable, you know. and it makes you think like, well, yeah, maybe I did project it, but yeah, it's just and to get that from therapy, and then you shut everybody else out. It's understandable too, because if my therapist didn't believe me, so yeah, my family's not gonna believe it.
You know, there's one thing I'm gonna go backwards here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That one incident where you saw something, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, but that one time incident you saw something, you called me that morning, and you told me what you saw, and I you know, I was happy you confided in me just to tell me, because hey, this is what I saw. What do you think? And then we talked about it for a little bit, and then I had to go to work. But I was glad at least you came out and you reached out to me, because hey, this is what I saw. I never doubted you at all. I said, okay, well, you saw this. Okay, well, what do you think it is? And I said, well, you know, it could be this, could be that, and it could be paranormal. It could be this. So, but anyway,
you're talking about Victor?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those for like, I lost my brother a while back, and it took a toll on me, and he's probably the last straw. Yeah, pretty much the last straw is why I went to therapy.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't...
You were seeing him in the mornings?
I was seeing him in the middle of the night. Whenever... it was like around 2 to 4 a.m.
Witching hour, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or I would have to pee. I had to get up.
And you kind of regret it, right? Did you get up to go pee, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to, you know, because I know he was there. He was in the hallway, because Blair likes to sleep with the door open. At that time, I did not, because of that. And I didn't tell her. I didn't tell anybody for like, I think, over a year. And I would see him there every night. He was just there. And, you know, how I saw him is how my stepfather described him to me.
Right.
How he found. And that always bothered me to the core. So I would see him that way. And I felt, whenever he was looking at me, I felt like he was mad at me. That I wasn't there to help him. I was always there for him.
In the past.
To protect him. And I wasn't there for him there. And I felt it. The look he was giving me, shame, guilt, angry at myself. Mm-hmm. And there was, I think the first 2 weeks, I held my pee. I didn't want to get up.
Yeah.
I covered the blanket over me. I go, that's not real. That's not real. And I kept looking. I did it like 6 or 7 times. I kept like taking the blanket off my face and looking. He was still there. I go, fuck, this is not good. This is not good. It's not him. It's not him. I kept telling that. I was praying. And then I think after 2 weeks, I was like, man, I can't do this. I got to pee. So I'd get up and I would close the door and I'd go pee and then go back to bed. And then Blair would be like, why'd you close the door? You know, and I'm like, I didn't have the guts to tell her. And then
did you tell her afterwards though?
It took a while. Whenever we moved from the Carrollton apartment, and we moved to the one in Hearst, it stopped for about 2 weeks, and then it started again. And we'd always have that hallway light on because of the boys and all that stuff. Yeah. So whenever I would close the door, I would see his shadow. I would see the shadow on underneath the doorway, and I go, man, come on. Like, I was just like, really? Come on. And yeah, and then it was just, I think I just had a breakdown. I just told Blair, I was like, I'm seeing Victor. And I've been seeing him every night, almost every night for the past year and a half. And I don't know what it is. I don't think it's him. I think it's something else. And I think it's trying to get me. I don't know what it's trying to do. Yeah. I never saw him reach his hand out. I just heard him wheezing. The wheezing part was getting to me. Cause, it was the way he was found, and, he was just there, and, his clothes was just all like tore up. He looked like he was wearing like some type of blue shirt. And I always wanted to ask Bethel, before he passed, what shirt was he wearing? But I didn't have the guts to tell him that I was seeing him. Right. So,
that would have really
I
upsetted him. Yeah.
And he looked like he had jeans on, no shoes. Saw his feet. So I never got a chance to. So I just remember it looked like a blue shirt, and and then once I started going to therapy, and then once I was sleeping better because I had sleep apnea, and I asked my therapist, was it my brain not getting enough oxygen and it was projecting that, or was I really seeing him?
Right.
And she was like, it's probably a combination of both. Your guilt, the guilt that you had, and the trauma of finding out how he passed, and you not being there. It's just it's the perfect combination.
Yeah, because
ingredients.
I kind of said that too. I told you on the phone. I said, "Okay, you're probably feeling guilty because you weren't there for him."
I was guilty. I felt it. I was mad at myself.
I know, but it's nothing you couldn't control that though.
I know I couldn't. She told me that too. But yeah, I just I told her, I was like, it made me wonder if he left because he was so good. Bethel was so proud of him that he wasn't trying to leave anymore, because he had an obsession of just opening the door and just taking off running. If he didn't have snacks or certain things, in the household, he wanted it then and now, or right then and there, and he would go get it.
Yeah, he'd try to go find it.
Go to a store or something. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I go, what bothers me is that what if he was like, he just, thought of me and he wanted to go out and find me, and I haven't seen him in a while, and that's probably what led him wanting to leave.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, this is just me. Mm-hmm. I think you're reaching, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But, because you had this enormous guilt for him. Because I know, you were there with him ever since he was little, and you always, whenever he ran out, you ran after him. That was your job, and so. But I don't
ran out for him barefoot and went through a field, stepped on glass, and cut my feet.
Yeah,
had huge blisters. You remember the blisters on my feet?
I do remember.
Yeah. So that was just my job, and it's a different type of household whenever you have someone who's on the spectrum, who's autistic, because they just do things differently.
Yeah, they have different mechanisms and coping with stuff, and they react a lot of different ways, and but
super smart. He was always super smart.
Yeah. And
my story of why we're talking about is just the trauma. How the trauma can just slowly tear your mental state down, and how it wasn't just his passing. It was a lot of things before that. It was my mom's passing. It was your sister, grandpa, your dad, Bethel, and during that time, whenever I was just figuring it out and, processing it, lost Jabron, and
I got sick,
and you got sick, and it was like, I'm just real happy for my therapist at that time, because she kept me in line. There was a lot of things where I said that was out of line, not out of line, but like, it was my fault or stuff like that. She was like, no. No, you can't.
She pulled you down.
She pulled me down, and the stuff that I was reaching for, she brought me back to reality and was like, hey, this is all trauma. That's what it is. And unfortunately, everyone acts different to it. Everyone acts different.
Yeah.
Processing it. And you're processing it. You're letting your emotions out rather than bagging it in. Because that was my problem. I would bag it in. She called it a trauma backpack. I was like, I'll just grab this and put it in my backpack and just keep on trucking.
And carrying it.
And when eventually it weighed me down, and it was not, it was not good. So, and all back to where we're going at here is, if you have trauma like that, talk to somebody. And if they don't listen to you, talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
Someone will listen to you, and someone will be on the same page with you.
We're not licensed therapists.
No.
But we have a good ear, and like I know from the fact that I talked to John Doe, like
yes,
and I still talk to him to this day, and I talked to him probably like 3-4 years straight, and we talk about other stuff, stuff that we're interested in, but every now and then he'll he'll mention that incident.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, I go, how do you feel about it? And, how have you been processing it? And he was telling me that about his night terrors, that they've gone away, and because I don't think he thought that this Bigfoot was a parent and it was probably providing for its young or its partner or whatever. He just thought of it as a monster. Yeah. And I know a lot of people just think of that. They see like a 8-foot creature that's massive, mm-hmm. and their brain doesn't know how to process it, so they just automatically think it's a monster. And mm-hmm. But like I said, like you're saying, a lot of people, they process this trauma a little differently. So
it is, and especially if you just hold on to it, that thing is stronger than you think you're stronger by pushing it down or saying, I don't think about it anymore. It'll creep up. It'll eventually get there. So
what I kind of want to touch on too was because we run the Bigfoot Club page mm-hmm. On Facebook. It's like, I think at I want to say, I can't remember now. I think it's like at 26,000 or something like that. Mm-hmm. No, maybe not 26,000. But it's in the 20,000 being followed and like 19,000 likes. Mm-hmm. But I post stuff on there every day, mm-hmm. and I post about six pictures or six image posts. Whether they're memes or just pictures or just random stuff, and then I post about your YouTube mm-hmm. streaming page. I do a picture on the merch, and then I do our latest episode. People can go and listen to it on our www.bigfootclubpodcast.com. So mm-hmm. they can go there and listen to our new episodes and our old ones. So every now and then there's people on this page that like to make fun of people.
Yeah.
And so I'm on it daily. I'm on it daily, and I can tell you that there's not a lot of nice people on there.
Bigfoot bullies. There's not nice people on the internet, especially on the internet.
Well, I was just specifically talking about our page because there is a ton of people, and it's I'm not singling anybody out. Okay, mm-hmm. I'm not doing that. I'm not that type of person. I don't do that. Mm-hmm. But they're always like a single or like an older Caucasian male that mm-hmm. doesn't have a lot of friends on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's the same people. And they post stuff like, "You guys are idiots. There's nothing in the woods." Mm-hmm. And then I always ask them, I go, "Why are you on this page? If you don't believe it, you don't believe in Bigfoot, don't be on the page." Mm-hmm. And so there's people who maybe listen to this podcast or maybe don't listen to the podcast, but they're followers and they like our page and they like the stuff that's on there. Right. And they've had an experience and they haven't talked to anyone yet. And then they run across a post like this, and I'm not one of these people that try to hurt people's feelings.
Right.
That's not my deal. But, if you're going to be a researcher, mm-hmm. you got to have tough skin.
Right.
But if you're a witness, then that's not required. It's not required. And not a lot of people say that. Because people, like I said, like we said before, people seen this thing and they're not ready to cope with it. So there's probably people who are on our page that have not talked to anybody, but want to talk to us and talk to people. And then they see this post about someone saying, "Oh, you're an idiot for seeing a Bigfoot," because there's no such thing.
Right.
And that grinds my gears.
You feel like those type of posts, like maybe these people that have witnessed or they haven't told their story yet,
right?
And they're all like, "I'm gonna give them another week," and I love these guys. These guys are really good. I like how they do things, and then they go on our page, and then they see that like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it
now. No. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this. I get that. That's it's discouraging.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy thing to talk about. It's really not. And if it's bothering the person that much too, it's scary to unload that on someone. So I get that 100%. Because honestly, I didn't know how Blair was going to react. I thought she was going to say, "You're fucking crazy. You need to go to the mental hospital."
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, that was a scary thing. I was like, man, what is Robert going to think? Is you think I'm going to be crazy too? I don't know. Like, that's not something that you admit and say out loud, saying like, hey, you know.
That was before or after I got sick?
Before you got sick.
Okay.
And then, you know, another thing that was very troubling too, and I was like, okay, maybe I did see him. Maybe. I don't know. Whenever you were in the hospital, and I don't know if you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
And I was going to I think it was right after they took the ventilator out, or they were going to.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, because I think Steve was right there. I think he was right there. And there was a room next to you that was not occupied. I don't know if it was occupied before you got there. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But I was walking by there, and I just happened to look in there. The light was on, and there was an older man, bald headed, had some hair on the side right here,
yeah,
and a gown, and he was sitting on the chair next to the bed, and he was looking, and he looked confused. He looked like he was perplexed or just confused on something, and it was real quick. I saw him for about a good 1-2 seconds. And my focus was just you,
right?
Going to you, and I stopped right then and there, and I was like, "Why is that guy just sitting there?" And I went back to go. I did like 5 steps. It wasn't even 5 steps, but it was out of my view. So I did 5 steps back to look inside the room. Nobody was there.
He was gone.
He was gone.
Was the light still on?
Light still on.
Did you see his feet? Was he wearing slippers?
I know he wasn't wearing pants. He had the gown on.
So he was barefooted?
He was barefooted, or yeah, like his knee. I could see his knees.
Yeah.
And he was sitting down. So I was like, what? What the hell did I just see? And I don't know if that's a good thing. And I didn't want to tell you that at the hospital. I remember that because I was like, I don't want to scare him. Because that's
I don't think you could have scared me when I was already scared.
You were in a bad floor, you know, and there was a lot of death there, and I don't know if this person died recently or if it was a residual. I don't know, but I just remember I didn't want to tell you. I told Steve, and Steve, he was in another place at the time, so he was just like, "Oh, okay, all right." I wonder why he was there. Like, I don't think he realized what I said to him. So I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to say anymore.
Because I know we've talked about it before on another podcast about this story, and there was times where, because like I had weird sleeping hours when I was in the hospital, and I slept sometimes during the day, sometimes in the evening, and I'd wake up like around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, wide awake. And I'd be talking to the nurses, and they would say, "Hey, do you want a sponge bath?" And I go, "Yeah, because I couldn't get up and do it on my own." But anyway, before all that stuff was happening, I saw, like I was telling you, I saw an older man walking down the room, and he had a gown on. And
did he have something to walk with?
Yeah, he had one of those IV things with him, but I couldn't see an IV. Because the angle I was at, I couldn't see it, but I could see the top part of it. But he had an IV on it, but I couldn't tell if it was in his arm. I assumed that it was.
Yeah.
But it was weird because I saw him walking around, and then like later on, I asked about that man, and they said there's nobody on that floor that could walk. So
see, I don't know if you saw the
same guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but this was probably like a week or something like later. After I got the ventilator out and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the time whenever you got the ventilator out. Like, I want to say it was because it was a big commotion, like, because Grandma wanted to see you, and I think Richard or Raymond said, "I don't think you want to see that. I don't think you want to see that." And she was like, well, and she was like, I want to go see him. And then Steve was like, I'll go see him. And then at that time, I was like, I don't want to see it either. I don't know if I can handle that. And I was like, you know what? No. I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then I'm going to go. So I went to the bathroom, washed my face, used the restroom, washed my face. washed my hands, and then got out, and then I was heading that, and I was okay. I'm gonna do it. Walked down that hallway, made a left. I was going down that hallway, and then there was that first room, and then I just happened to look. I was like, oh, okay, there's a guy right there, cool. And then I see Steve looking really worried. I know his worried look.
Yeah.
And then it just hit me, and I was like, wait, who's that sitting in that room? Walked back, maybe he's lost or something. I don't know what I thought. What did I see?
Yeah.
And he was gone. I was like, okay, I'm not going to notice it.
There was probably a lot of energy in me getting ready to get that ventilator out. So
that's why, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know what that was. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because, you see something like that, my mind was going like, death is here. And I don't want him near Robert. I don't know what that was, and I'm not going to ignore. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
And
I can just tell you, before they pull out that ventilator, because I've had that happen to me before.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, because they had a ventilator me when I was a kid, and I knew it was not comfortable. It was painful.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. It looked terrible.
And I just think I was going through a lot of anxiety at that time, and I was worried. But I knew it was a good sign.
Yeah.
But I knew I said, okay, I got to do it. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. Just got to do it. Just got to do it. Just pull it fast. That's what I think I wrote down. Pull it fast.
So when I just got there, right whenever they were about to do it, and then Steve saw it move, like they were just moving it. And Steve goes, I can't. He broke down. He's like, I can't watch this. And he looked away, and then I just happened to look, and then poof, they took it out, and then a bunch of stuff came up.
Yeah,
I think it was a bunch of, and they already had something there to catch it.
Yeah, it was
a lot of fluid. And I was like, oh.
It was like I was throwing up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I was coughing
and
it
then
out.
You started coughing, and then I could hear you, and then I just looked at Steve. I go, it's done.
Because I remember when they pulled it out, I wanted to start talking.
Yeah.
Immediately, I wanted to start talking.
You were whispering, and we were like, stop talking.
Stop talking.
Stop it. Shut up.
And I've been wanting to talk for 6 days, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I was so frustrated because, I was sweating my ass off, and I couldn't tell anybody that I was burning. I go, man, I'm burning up, dude. That medicine they gave me, it was like...
It made you hot?
I was like
temperature-wise?
Yeah, I was like in fuego.
So,
but,
Did we have fans for you there?
Yeah, I had 3 fans on me, and the room was 67.
And you were still hot?
I was still hot.
Man, you're like me on here.
That medicine that they put inside me, I can't remember what it's called. Global something. Anyway, so when they put it on, it was like firing all my nerves at the same time. And so it felt like I was I don't know, like the Human Torch or something.
It made me wonder, if maybe, because I know they kept covering you, right? Blanket-wise.
Yeah.
It made me wonder, man, if we just took the covers off.
There was I think in the middle of the night, I'd ask them to take it off.
You were moving your hands, right? I think you were moving your hands.
Yeah, my hands were extremely numb.
Yeah.
I couldn't hold anything, but
you couldn't push the blankets either?
No, I couldn't tell if I was grabbing it.
Oh man, it's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
But that was my goal, was to not tell you that until you, in my mind I was like, he has to be walking and running before I say anything on that, because I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say anything. I just thought that was weird. And I didn't feel any negative. Now that I think of it, there was nothing negative. I just felt like he was confused.
Yeah, maybe he didn't know he was dead.
Yeah, and I think that's the sad part there, is that he didn't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he was waiting on somebody. I don't know. And that's just sad. Man, that's a weird thing, because he looked like a real person. There was nothing see-through. There was none of that.
Yeah.
I saw feet. I know I saw feet, because I saw his legs. And I was like, why is he just sitting there?
Yeah.
And there's no nurse around here, to help him?
While I was there, I think on a regular, there was 3 code blues a day.
It just made me wonder if he was one of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, it had to have been that floor. So it's just weird. And I I just know seeing that, it scared me because I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that to be Robert.
Yeah.
Don't want that to be you. And but once the ventilator came out and you started talking, I was like, okay, this is good time.
Yeah.
This is good. Now, the next thing that like normal people do, the next thing I was like, okay, if I see him eat, it's good. Okay, he's eating. Now, if I see him like do something like something small, you know, grab a fork and then get a piece and then put it in your mouth. Okay, he's doing that. Okay, now if he can just start wiggling his toes, you know. It was just little baby steps that I kept telling myself. If I see that, we're good. We're good. Obviously now it
was a long road.
It was a long road, and you know you recently fell down. 'Cause you were pushing trash down the dumpster down the thing, and you fell down. So I was like, well,
I'm proud of myself that I didn't fall while I was in recovery. I mean, I fell down one time, but it was like I was working out. Mm-hmm. I was working out at the house over when I was staying with Raymond, and I fell down one time there, and I laughed because the way
was it on the carpet though?
Yeah, it was on the carpet, and like I fell sideways. Like I was doing this exercise that I had my hand on the wall, and I was doing these crouches, and then I was just sticking out my foot, and I was doing a crouch, and then I was sticking out my foot. And I just lost my balance, you know, and I was trying to move my left foot a little more so I can catch myself, and it got caught in the carpet, and I fell down, and I just laughed, and I helped myself back up. It was the only time I ever felt. And like whenever I was in recovery, I was super scared about falling. Yeah, that was like traumatic for me. I did not want to. I didn't want to do. We're going back to that because I didn't want to do it because I didn't have any control. Mm-hmm. But that's the weird part about it is that when you fall, you know, it's our natural instinct to put your hands up, to cover your face or to break the fall or to embrace.
So if you don't have that feeling, at least that I'm pretty sure it makes the fear of falling 10 times scarier. Yeah, because you don't have that quick reflex to try to catch yourself or to break the fall. Kind of like that one time whenever I was wearing sandals and I went to Walmart and it was raining and I was like, why am I wearing sandals while it's raining? I should be fine. And I slipped.
Yeah, you do the splits,
and
right?
I had the randomest encounter ever. I want to say he was an angel. He's freaking tan surfer guy, blonde hair, curly hair. Yo, dude, that was gnarly. You fell down. You all right, bro?
Yeah.
Literally sound like that. And I was like, I just
sound like a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, no. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I didn't sit. He goes, well, there's some cars right there, man. Let me help you up, amigo. Come on. And he got me up. He's real strong, and picked me up like nothing. I was like, he's like, you're good, man. Are you sure? Like you're not bruised or anything? I go, no, I'm good, man. I appreciate it. He's like, all right, man.
Were you more embarrassed or hurt?
I was more hurt because I know I hit the shit out of my calf.
Oh, okay.
And but I was happy whenever I was up because I was like, did I hurt my back? That's where I was kind of scared of. I wasn't even embarrassed. I started laughing. I was like, I can't believe I slipped.
Yeah.
Here in the middle of the road, and I know there was cars waiting on me, and that's why I kind of put a pep in my step, and then I slipped, and I know they saw it obviously. So, are we at a minute?
A minute and 3 seconds.
Ooh, man. Well, that 3 seconds, I think I went to the bathroom.
Yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then we waited a long time before we started talking.
That's true. That's true.
So,
closing statements.
You got any shout outs to anybody?
Shout out to B-Town.
B-Town down?
Yeah. He says I'm ignoring him and that I'm not playing video games with him anymore. And he's like, what did I do wrong?
He's fine.
Yeah, I was like, stop playing Fortnite. How about that?
Real gamers don't play that, right?
No. You hear that, B-Town? I'm kidding. You can play whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah, but real gamers don't play that though.
No, at least I don't.
Right.
I don't believe in the whole
paying for your stuff.
No, well, I don't like the idea of. I told him this all the time. Goku, with a skin, and he's shooting a gun. or Vegeta, my boy, my Vegeta.
That would be like
need a gun.
That'd be like Wolverine with a gun.
Yeah, they have that too. They have Ninja Turtles. It's just like, but they'll keep something that's like for them, like a skateboard. The Ninja Turtles that have a skateboard. Yeah, and they'll have that. And I think they're doing something with Star Wars right now because it's May the 4th.
Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have any shout-outs?
I like Star Wars.
I know you do.
I want to do a shout out to Jin Reuter.
Yeah, Jin.
From Goo Gals Paranormal.
You didn't say Go Girls. That's so cool.
Goo Gals Paranormal. Mm-hmm. She's my favorite.
Yeah.
She's my favorite paranormal investigator of all time.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
They're badass.
Her and Rose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't forget about Rose.
No.
She's a badass too.
Yeah, she is. I didn't say she wasn't.
She will kick a ghost's ass anytime, any day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just want to do a shout out to her, and hopefully she's doing okay.
Yep.
Let me see here.
Shout out to the boys, too.
The boys. Anybody that's... I just wanted to say, if you're listening to the show for the first time, thank you. If you're a long-time person that's been listening to the show, double thank you. Mm-hmm. And if you're one of those people who hasn't followed or subscribed to us, this would be a good time to do it.
And where can they find us?
They can find us on www.bigfootclubpodcast.com, and then they can find us on social media.
Which social medias?
Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and they can find us at Bigfoot Club, the number 1. And if they have any stories or if they have any comments about the show and they want to be critical or they want to give us praise, they can email us at bigfootclub1@gmail.com.
And it doesn't have to be a Bigfoot story. It can be anything paranormal or something that
it could be a different. It could be a different cryptid, or it could be. It could be time travel. It could be, a Thunderbird or
pterodactyl. I heard pterodactyls are coming up.
Yeah. So
surprisingly, I'm like, wow, okay.
So
sure,
be one of those Fresno walkers or whatever. So
skinwalkers.
Any of that stuff,
come forward and we'll welcome you with open arms and won't judge you.
La Chuza, whatever.
Yep.
So, anyway, I think I can do something with this show.
You think so?
Yeah.
You're not going to lose it again?
I hope not. Shoot.
Better not.
Shoot.
We might have to get us another Roadcaster Pro.
Yeah, dog.
No, we're not doing that.
I already did it.
You can't. You're going to edit it out.
No, I'm not.
You need to.
I'm keeping it in.
No.
Anyway, good night.
And good luck.
Good luck.